All right, hello. So, if you are replacing the four-wheel drive encoder slash shift motor, and this is not lined up, let's say for whatever reason either it didn't come with this tool or you've just got it messed up. There's two ways to fix this, and it depends on what year you're dealing with. If it's an older model, and I think it's 1999 to 2002 on like GMs and Chevys, um, everything that uses that 5.3 or whatever. Um, then the way to do it is you simply take the new one, you plug it in, and then you turn the car on and you tell it to shift into whatever position you need it in. And that's how you do it on those older models. Most of them want you to have it in neutral. And so, and you can look up videos, like you either have to turn the dial past four low on the turn dial type, or if it's the buttons, I think you push the auto and the four low and hold it down for like 10 seconds. But in any event, if you need to shift it neutral, and it'll just shift for you, and it just controls this motor, and all is well there. On the newer ones, I think what happens is that the transfer case, it doesn't want, well, it sends a warning to the computer. It says, hey, you told this thing to shift. I didn't change what gear I was in. There's a problem. And so it won't move for you. And so the best way to get these into alignment, or at least the way that worked for me, is simply to take this off and then pull the motor out and move this where you need it and then put it all back together. I just had to do that and it worked great. And so what you're going to need is you're going to need Torx, some Torx bits. And this one actually uses two different sizes. A bigger size on this case, which covers the motor, and the actual motor is held on by a bracket with some smaller ones. The Chinese rebuilt one, or I don't know if it's Chinese, the reman one that I got off Amazon, because it's a 2006 Yukon that I was doing this for. I had tried using the old method and it moved this, but then stopped being willing to move it, and so I got it stuck in the wrong position. This is the one that I replaced it with. I have one of those security bit sets that you can get at like Harbor Freight and whatnot. And here's an example of one of the random bits that I had to use on the other one. Hopefully, if you got one that was properly put back together, then all you're going to need is Torx. If you got one of those cheap ones like what I did, who knows what you're going to be dealing with here, but you just got to get the right bits, and it's pretty straightforward. So you're just going to, I'll turn the light on so we can see what we're doing. So you're just going to take all these out, and I used like a screw. I used a screw to get all the gunk out of these threads so I could do it, or so I could pull this off. Which one didn't I do well enough? All right, one of these. In fact, there we go. And so this is just the cover. Like I said, note that this part that extrudes, or that goes out from the circle, this part right here, that's to cover your wiring. And when we take this motor off, we're not going to mess with the wiring. Keep all this intact. I'm doing this one-handed, so I clamped it down to my table saw actually. But when you do it, I would suggest putting it on its side, because there's a gear in here, and when you take that off, the gear is not held on by anything other than, I mean, it's on the shaft, and the shaft has flat sides so that it turns with the shaft, but there's no like bolts or anything that hold that particular gear on there. So if you turn it sideways, it'll just stop you from that thing coming off, and it'll be less frustrating for you, because then you don't have to put it back on and then feel insecure about whether or not you're putting it on right. Well, that one's going on there apparently. Oop. There we go. And so once that's free, okay, yeah, so now that that's free, we're going to take it off. You can see that gear I was talking about. That thing is not held on by anything, so just be careful, because if it slides off, you don't... I mean, you can just put it right back on realistically, but I don't know. If you're like me, you might get feeling secure about like, oh, which way does it go? Did it go right here? Or... And I don't actually think it matters. I'm pretty sure you can put it on however you want. I say that, now it's not going back on. Maybe it does matter. There you go. But so once this is out, and don't take it too far away, because it's still hooked up, and if you're putting one in, you don't want to mess those up. But now this thing should be able to turn freely. You can see that the key is actually moving. And hopefully, if you're like me and you are too lazy to throw things away immediately after you don't think you have a use for them, then you held on to this bad boy when you opened it up. And so this, you can see it has that key there at the bottom. And this is designed to align this into neutral. And it's worth noting that these come aligned for neutral, and you should be able to shift the transfer case into neutral just with the strength of your own fingers, if you just reach up in there and shift it. So now that we can move this, you just move it so that so this tab right here goes into this bolt hole. It won't actually reach the other ones. At least I don't believe it will. So I'm going to test that out right now just to see if I'm telling truth or lies. If I can. Because I don't think it actually... Yeah, it's too short to go into that one. And too short to go into that one as well. So you can't align it with the wrong bolt hole. And so there you go. You just leave that plastic in to keep it from getting misaligned. And then you go back to this guy right here and just get her on in there. Boom, and there you go. And so this is ready to put in. And like I said, I just did this with mine. It's a 2006 Yukon, Yukon XL technically, although they're all the same, so it doesn't matter that it's an XL. And you should be able to, and it should work. Mine did. And so if it doesn't work, don't sue me. I'm just doing my garage thing here. But and I wouldn't actually torque them down that tight. I think it's very much unnecessary. I would just, tight enough, I guess. What in the world? As I strip that guy out. Well, maybe I should use power tools. Who knows? And I dropped one of them. Yeah, I would be more delicate with it if it was one that was going in, but this is the one that came out. So I'm not too worried about it. Unless I can find a use for this motor and this gear setup, which who knows, if I'm doing like a toy or something. Maybe I can, but okay, and I didn't show it, but I'm switching between these two different size torx because the outside ones is a bigger torx. I don't actually know the number, but if my camera work is so terrible that you can't tell, just know that is happening. And yeah, here we are. Boom. There we are, and next one. There we go. And so now we're aligned again. This guy's all buttoned up, and it's ready to be installed. And hopefully, you won't have started beating things with a hammer or taking a torch to your rig before finding this solution. And kudos to all the people online who gives suggestions, because I was frustrated, and somebody else had posted on in a comment, and I thought, oh hey, I'll give it a shot. It's better than ordering another $60 Amazon thing, or I don't even know how much it was. But anyway, this worked for me. I hope it works. I hope it helps some of you who are in the midst of frustration and ready to just start taking a hammer to your rig. Yeah, and if it doesn't work, don't sue me. I'm not a mechanic. I don't know anything. Thanks. Good luck.